What's up, guys? Fantasy Joe back here with another mock draft. Thank you guys so much for the support on the video 2 weeks ago. If the previous mock draft I released on Monday or this mock draft gets more than 5 likes or 20 views, I will bring you 2 mock drafts next week again. If you are new to the channel, please hit that like button on this video, hit that subscribe button down below, and as always, if you leave any questions or comments in the comment section down below, I will respond. Appreciate all the support you guys have been showing on the channel. We're going to be getting into this mock draft. We're drafting from the 107 spot from the 7th draft position. Half point PPR, 2 running back, 2 wide receiver, 1 flex spot, typical league. Let's get into it. Draft is loading up. No, I would not like to upgrade. Okay, so Christian McCaffrey went 1. Then we have Dalvin Cook at 2, Alvin Kamara at 3, Saquon Barkley went at 4, Derrick Henry went at 5, and Travis Kelce went at 6. So this is actually a really easy pick for me. There's one of these players that sticks out above the rest, and it is Devonte Adams. I think Devonte Adams is an absolute bona fide stud. He caught 18 touchdowns last year in basically 13 and a half games. I think he is the best fantasy wide receiver by a pretty big chunk just because of the touchdown upside that he has. Tarik Hill, I have it too, is also a goon, but I would put him just a little bit lower because of the target volume and lack of touchdown upside comparatively to Devonte Adams. Not that he doesn't have touchdown upside. He certainly does with Patrick Mahomes in that offense, but give me another year of Aaron Rodgers and Devonte Adams. He's the easy pick for me at the 107 with the guys remaining on the board. The other players I would have considered probably would have been Aaron Jones, but went with Devonte Adams for all the reasons I laid out. And then let's see who we can get in the second round now that we went with the wide receiver. Austin Eckler is available here. Austin Eckler, as I said, put out a bunch of videos about how much I love Eckler this year because he's going to get so much of that pass catching work. Justin Herbert likes to throw to his star players. He was on pace for 94 receptions last year, had 92 receptions, I believe, the year before that. Dominates in the passing game and half point PPR, is very skilled in that skill set. So that's why I'm going to take him here in the second round above guys like Cam Akers and Antonio Gibson, are a little less established than he is. And none of these wide receivers are really on that same tier as these running backs are at this point to me. So we're going to lock in Austin Eckler as our RB1. And I really like the way this mock draft has started, getting Devonte Adams and Austin Eckler. Ooh, George Kittle is still available in the third round. I am going to take George Kittle here. I like him better than a lot of these other options. He's a positional advantage. We saw how high Travis Kelce went. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility for George Kittle to have a season where he finishes even higher than Travis Kelce. Not that I would draft them there in that order, but I think that's within the realm of possibility for George Kittle, especially if they do get a rookie quarterback that comes in and is really good. Jimmy Garoppolo could be the starter this year, depending to who they take, but I love to get George Kittle in that third round and see how this team turns out. Especially going wide receiver, running back, tight end. It's kind of an odd way to start a draft so far. I don't think we've done that yet in a mock. Would have loved to get a guy like Chris Carson, who went just ahead of us in that round, to fill out our RB2 spot. We still have guys like Amari Cooper, Robert Woods, Kenny Galladay on the board. I like all three of those wide receivers. So for that reason, I'm going to take Melvin Gordon here, who I really like this year with no Phillip Lindsay, and hope that I'm able to snag one of those wide receivers in the next round. And they are all gone. So it went Melvin Gordon, Amari Cooper, Josh Allen, Robert Woods, Kenny Galladay, Adam Thielen, T. Higgins, Najee Harris, Deontay Johnson, CeeDee Lamb, Mark Andrews, Kareem Hunt, and Travis Etienne. I will draft Cooper Kupp here. I like Cooper Kupp a lot this year in fantasy football because they have Matthew Stafford, who I think is going to ball out for the Rams this year. I think Cooper Kupp is that big slot receiver who offers touchdown upside, especially when you have a reliable receiver like Devonte Adams who also offers touchdown upside. Snagging somebody like Cooper Kupp, who's a little bit more week to week, maybe a variable, but can have those big games where I think I can win some weeks because of that touchdown upside. And I don't think he's, an awful consistency guy either. And I think Stafford's really just going to help him out. Help him and Robert Woods. I think Stafford's just a huge boost for everyone on that team, to be honest with you. So I'm going to take Cooper Kupp here as my wide receiver 2. I'm going to be happy about it because I was able to secure Melvin Gordon. I like that I went Melvin Gordon knowing I'm going to be able to knowing now that I'm able to secure Cooper Kupp in this 5th round. So we'll take Cooper Kupp there, and we'll move along. Ooh, Dak Prescott's available here in the 6th round. Dak is a player I really like. When you got, I think Dak is a guy, he could finish as quarterback 1 this year, honestly. I think that's how high his ceiling is. This is a mock, so I am going to take him here just to see how the team turns out. But yeah, I think there's all the Dallas Cowboys this year I'm pretty high on, honestly, for fantasy. Dak Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott, Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb. I think all those guys offer a lot of upside in that offense. And people are sleeping on them too far, I think. Okay, let's take a look. So, I'm going to take Deebo Samuel here. I really like Deebo Samuel. Put out the video why Deebo Samuel was a winner or a guy I'll be buying low in free agent or in dynasty leagues because people are just keep pushing him too far down. He's a guy, some of the guys in the league talk about, on his own team, Trent Williams, Athletic Freaks, talk about as a guy comparing him to Percy Harvin and having some of the best contact balance they've seen of any player, not just receivers, but any player. He's highly talented, highly athletic, and a good scheme that gives him the ball early and often. I'm going to take him as my flex here. I have 2 San Francisco players in him and Kittle, but I don't mind that. Moving along, Robbie Anderson is still available. I am going to take Robbie Anderson here. I really like Robbie Anderson this year now with the Sam Darnold going to Carolina. I think that is a big win for Robbie. He's played with him before. He had 163 targets with their time together when he was in New York, and he caught 88 of them, I believe. He's a very talented football player. Yeah, so Robbie Anderson caught 88 of 163 targets for 1,353 yards and 11 touchdowns from Sam Darnold when they were on the Jets together. I'm going to take that connection again. We saw Robbie Anderson was able to do at the beginning of last year with Teddy Bridgewater. I don't think Teddy Bridgewater is a fantastic quarterback. Not saying that Sam Darnold is. I just think Sam Darnold has the arm talent to offer some more upside than Teddy Bridgewater does. And that connection already has been established with Robbie Anderson. Sure, DJ Moore's a talented receiver, but I think Robbie Anderson was one of those guys in New York that wasn't getting enough credit for how good of a football player he is. And so I'm going to take him as our first bench player. I feel really good being able to slide in him or Robbie as a flex. Don't feel good about the running back depth I have on this team, but I really do like the receivers, like the tight end, like the Q. Like our starting lineup is very strong, and I've got a solid bench spot. But if one of my running backs goes out, I could really be in some trouble. So let's see who's available still at running back. Tarik Cohen still available. I like him a lot. Mike Williams is available. I also like him. I think he's a guy who can have a big year, and you can draft him so far down just because of how talented we saw Justin Herbert was, and he's a skilled player. But we're going to take Tarik Cohen here because, like I said, the lack of running back depth that we have. I think he's a guy who's a borderline flex. He might have to be my RB2 some weeks just because that's the way my team is shaking out so far. But I don't feel bad about the spot I'm in. And actually, we're going to double dip on running back here and snag Phillip Lindsay from Houston. I think he's the best running back on that roster. David Johnson and Mark Ingram have both struggled with injuries recently. Phillip Lindsay, I think, actually got hurt last year as well. But historically, throughout his career, has been a little less injury-prone than those two players. And I think he is the best player in that backfield this time, the youngest. I'm going to draft Phillip Lindsay here, betting on the talent of Phillip Lindsay to win that job and potentially be a star running back. Maybe not a star because all the cooks in the kitchen they're going to have there, but I think he is a guy at this point in the draft, 10th round, could produce for fantasy. Okay, let's take a look at the guys who are still available. Yeah, in hindsight, I definitely think I would have waited to go draft a quarterback, wouldn't have drafted Dak where I did. But like I said, this is a mock draft. We wanted to see how the team would turn out. I would draft George Kittle in that 3rd round. I think he's a great value in the 3rd, especially with the 7th draft pick. So let's take a look. I'm going to take James White here. He's another guy, I think, similar to Tarik Cohen role, where it's just like we know where he's going to slide in. I think he could have a solid year. He's a guy I can start. I'm not saying that I would love to do it, but he's a guy you can slide in your lineup and not feel awful about it at least. I'll take one more shot at a running back here too, and Rashaad Penny, 12th round. I might even work my way one more round in other drafts, but like I said, the weakness of my team was running back. I feel really good about my receivers. I'm going to draft him. He's a guy, if Chris Carson gets injured or if he is playing well, I think could get a decent chunk of that work. Not saying I would bet on it, but at this point in the draft, you got to make some moves, so swing for some upside. So we still have Jonnu Smith is still available at tight end, Salvin Ahmad for Miami, Giovanni Bernard, Joshua Kelly, Mark Ingram. None of these backs I'm really interested in almost at all. I'm going to take John Brown here from Vegas. See if he can get the ball there a little bit. Not a guy I think I'll draft in many drafts, but I liked where I could get him at that point. Going to keep stacking some more of these wide receivers I like and running backs instead of taking a defense and a kicker as always. You know what? I'll take Denzel Mims here. Off chance you get a breakout from a second-year player if Zach Wilson turns out to be good, who is most likely who they're going to take at 2. I'd be surprised if they don't. But yeah, maybe him and Denzel Mims have a connection and are able to produce in his second year. He showed some flashes as a rookie. I'm going to take Paris Campbell as well. He's a guy I think there's not a lot of weapons in that offense. Michael Pittman, him, T.Y. Hilton. Michael Pittman didn't impress a whole lot as a rookie. T.Y. Hilton had a bad year last year. Maybe they'll both be better this year with Carson Wentz. I expect them to be, but I think Paris Campbell is a guy who people are sleeping way too far on. So let's take a look at this team. At quarterback, I've got Dak Prescott. Running back, Austin Eckler. Second RB spot, Melvin Gordon. Wide receiver, Devonte Adams. Wide receiver, Cooper Kupp. Tight end, George Kittle. And our flex, we've got Deebo Samuel. Let's round out talk about our bench. We've got Robbie Anderson, Tarik Cohen, Phillip Lindsay, James White, Rashaad Penny, John Brown, Denzel Mims, and Paris Campbell. I really like the receivers I have on this team. I think I could have prioritized running back depth a little bit more, but I don't hate the team that I have by any means. I think I have a really strong starting lineup. I think if this was a real league, I would have taken Dak in that 6th round, but we wanted to see how the team turns out. And he's going to produce for fantasy a lot this year, so I don't mind the pick. Like this team, but like I said, probably would have taken another running back in that 6th or 5th round or something if I was going to redo it. And punt quarterback a little bit farther down the road if this was a competitive league. If you made it to this point in the video, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button down below, and as always, leave any questions or comments in the comments, and I will respond. Until next time, this is Fantasy Joe. I'm out.